Okay.
The August 26th, 2020 special meeting of the Board of Selectmen will come to order. I'd like to welcome everyone joining us on Facebook Live, as well as those joining to listen over the phone. Now I'd ask that you join to do the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you.
Yeah.
So first is approval of the minutes. We have special meeting minutes for August 12th, 2020 Board of Selectmen meeting. Do I hear a motion to approve the minutes of the August 12th meeting?
So moved.
Do I hear a second?
I second.
There's a motion and a second. Any discussion?
No discussion.
Thank you, Stacy, for excellent meeting minutes once again.
Yes.
All those in favor?
Aye.
The motion carries. So under correspondence, we've received applications from Karen Carlson, Raven Kelly Dinwiddie, Elizabeth Kading, and Lindsay Price Fairchild, who are all interested in serving on the Board of Police Commission. Thank you to all of you who have shown an interest in this upcoming vacancy. I did want to share some information that we just got actually just moments before this meeting. So upon reviewing the town charter and ordinance, as well as the state ordinance on minority representation, we reached out to the town attorney again to clarify the minority representation part of our ordinance. Because previously the town attorney had recommended to then First Selectman Simmons, when there was a Democrat leading the board, that the seat should go to another Democrat, since there was only one Democrat on the board. The town got back to us this afternoon saying that their advice was still to replace the upcoming vacancy with a Republican this time, because it's a Republican that is leaving and there's only one Republican on the board, because they believe that is the spirit of the law and that the board should have representation from at least one representative from each party. However, it is not legally required to do so. So given all this, I believe that what we're going to do moving forward is put out a notice to clarify, because again, we have this clarified information. So we'll be putting out a notice, and we'll be accepting applications from any party, as well as unaffiliated, as well as minority parties, so Green, Independent, Libertarian, Democrat, Republican, unaffiliated. We encourage people to apply soon. We're going to set a deadline of September 30th. That way we can do interviews in October and have the seat replaced in time for the November vacancy. So just to clarify that, and again, we'll put it out on the website. We've also, on other matters, received an application from John Trzynski and Don Kluberdan, who are interested in serving on the Plan of Conservation and Development Implementation Committee. As you might recall, the term for all 5 members of the POCD ended in February, and so we'd asked all members to consider if they wanted to reapply, and there was only one, John, who reapplied, and we're very grateful for that. But so now we have additional open seats, so if anyone listening, or if you know of anyone, this is another very important committee. The terms are 3 years. They will likely have a hand in helping to shape the setup for our new POCD that we'll be doing in the next couple of years as a community. So again, if you're interested in applying, please reach out. We're happy to share more information about what it takes to serve on that group, and then also just send an application. So thank you very much. And again, I'd say applications would be appreciated by the end of September. Thank you. Under reappointments, we have a number of these. So first is the Stonington Housing Authority. Do I hear a motion to reappoint Elizabeth Lehman to the Stonington Housing Authority? So moved. Do I hear a second?
I second.
There's a motion and a second. Any discussion? No? Okay. All those in favor?
Aye.
Motion carries. Thank you, Elizabeth, for staying on the Housing Authority. It's a great group. The next one is the Conservation Commission, and we have 2. So can I get a motion to reappoint both Ben Baldwin and Stuart Cole to the Conservation Commission? So moved. Do I hear a second?
I second.
There's a motion and a second. Any discussion? No discussion. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. The motion carries. Thank you, Ben and Stuart, for your continued service. And then for the WPCA, do I hear a motion to reappoint Peter Balistrati to the WPCA? So moved. Do I hear a second?
I second.
Motion and a second. Any discussion? No? Okay, all those in favor?
Aye.
Motion carries. Thank you so much, Peter, for your continued service on the WPCA. That is a heavy lift. Stuart is my favorite topic. So next is Inland Wetlands and Watercourses Commission, which does as well. Could I get a motion to please reappoint William Wright from an alternate to a regular member of the Inland Wetlands and Watercourses Commission?
So moved.
Do I hear a second?
I second.
There's a motion and a second. Any discussion?
No.
All those in favor?
Aye.
The motion carries.
I guess I have a question. Now, is there a vacancy for an alternate position?
Yes,
Yeah,
there is. Now
okay.
there will be. Now there will be, yes.
All right.
And Stacy, update the appointments and vacancies after each of our Board of Selectmen meetings.
Yeah.
So that should be updated probably by tomorrow, if not Friday.
It's on the town website.
Yes, it's on, both under news and under the First Selectmen. So two different spots you can find it, or email us if you have trouble and we can send it to you. And then we also have a resignation. So from the Waterfront Commission, Arlene Whipple's term on the Waterfront Commission ended on June 30th, and she reached out to state that she does not wish to seek reappointment. So we'll send her an acknowledgement and thank her for her service, and also thank her again right now for your service. But again, that'll be another opening that we'll have on the Waterfront Commission. Okay, so under, hard to breathe in the mask. Under old business, the update on COVID, mostly I'll just say, we were very happy, we, amongst others, advocated to the governor's office to extend Executive Order 7MM, which mainly the reason we were advocating for it has to do with liquor permits for outside and encroachment. So our zoning commission actually extended our own kind of version of the 7MM to allow for outdoor dining and the flexibility on signage and the idea that people can use their parking lots that we've seen. They extended it to the end of the year, which is fantastic. But we didn't do a lot of restaurants, a lot of good without the liquor permit part. And then also we've actually had at least one business apply and get just very recently an encroachment permit. So that would also have gone away on September 9th. So we're really grateful that the governor's office has seen fit to extend it. So that will go for another few months. So and then they could possibly revisit it, or it might stop there in November, I believe. So we're happy for that. And then just a reminder to people, if you are looking for COVID updates, you can obviously check the state site directly, but we also do try and keep our own website pretty up to date. We have an alert. We also have information under the First Selectmen's blog on various topics. And then we'll also put things under news when needed. And if you have any feedback for us on other information you'd like to have, just let us know. And I'm sure Doug is very grateful that certain states are coming off of the no-go list, so that's great.
Every Tuesday,
So that is the main stuff for COVID for now. We have a governor's call at 5 o'clock today, so anything relevant, I'll be sure to share with you.
May I add something
Yeah.
about it? So I know that we are at 6 feet apart. We are as far apart as we can be, but the guidelines are if you cannot be 6 feet apart, then to please wear a mask. So we are compliant. And I also want to say, for anyone who's listening, I've been in several supermarkets in Pawcatuck, in Westerly, in Stonington, and people are not paying attention to the one-way signs on the floor. I was actually called a bad name, reminding somebody to do so.
Aww.
And somebody else said to me, oh, I do it all the time. It's like, yeah, but that doesn't stop the spread. So please, there's one-ways on the floor for a reason. Please abide by the one-ways. So that's your PSA. That's my PSA.
Wear a mask, wash your hands.
Wash your hands. Just follow the one-way guidelines. So, okay.
No, thank you for pointing that, because I know people have been concerned the last meeting that, this is the space we have, so we're working with it, and that's why we're wearing it.
Right.
And I apologize if you can't hear us as well as we normally could, or I'm hyperventilating. So under new business, we also have the Urban Act Fund. So this is a resolution that will authorize the First Selectmen to execute and file all information with the state in regards to the Urban Act Fund for the Route 1 sidewalk replacement project. And before going into the motion, I just wanted to say a really genuine thank you, and I think I can kind of speak on behalf of you, but feel free to add it, that, this would not have been possible without the work of so many people advocating for so many years. So, of course, former First Selectman Rob Simmons, Representative Rotella, Senator Summers, former town employee Jason Vincent, current town employee Keith Fines and Sue Cullen, as well as all the other former members of Board of Selectmen who worked really hard to advocate and make the case motion to approve the resolution?
So moved.
Do I hear a second?
I second.
There's a motion and a second, any discussion?
Well, I think maybe we should probably state how many dollars we're receiving for this.
$600,000,
$600,000.
which is very exciting, and it will help us achieve it in a good portion. I do want to be sure people do understand this is a long process. Sue Cullen is taking the project lead, working with our town engineer and our town planner, myself, and many others. We're currently working to get the final design and engineering part of the contract. So the first part that we did when we were on the board of finance, they got it approved, was the $120,000 part. That got us like 30%. Now we have to get to like 90%. So once we do that, we'll probably go before the board of finance, because that money will have to come from the town. So we'll put that forward to get the that part of the contract, and then we'll really have a much better sense of how much the whole project could cost. And then we can really see where we start, how we start. We'll definitely try and engage the community. We will be reaching out to all property owners who live along that way, but we don't have enough information yet to know kind of how much of it may or may not go onto the property, so we're waiting for that. But if anyone who lives on that road and has questions, or just questions in general, they can reach out to myself, to Colin, or other members of our team.
It's on Route 1.
Yeah, Route 1, right, between kind of the high school to Mayflower, kind of the area we're looking at, and possibly some parts, both sides of the road, possibly more on one side, depending on how much it costs. All right, so any other discussion on that? No. All right, all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye, the motion carries. Okay, so now our next item of new business is on the Board of Police Commission. So if you don't mind, maybe I'll start, and then I'd love to hear your thoughts and views on this. So just from my own personal perspective, after speaking in person with Commissioner O'Shaughnessy this week, as well as engaging with people who have served with him, I support him finishing out one more final year of service on this board. I would ask that people attend the Board of Police Commissioner meeting on September 10th and continue to engage with the board going forward to get to know more about this man, as well as the other volunteers on this board. The online debate over the Facebook postings of Commissioner O'Shaughnessy have further demonstrated, in my opinion, a polarizing divide. People I deeply respect have voiced opinions on opposing sides of this debate, and I am left believing that social media is a core part of this problem. Just to share, back in May, I was reading the Wall Street Journal, and they released findings from an internal Facebook probe set to answer a critical question: does Facebook aggravate polarization and tribal behavior? They found the company's algorithms were not bringing people together. They were driving people further apart. The algorithms were set to exploit the brain's attraction to divisiveness in an effort to gain user attention and increase time on the platform. Beyond algorithms that favor divisiveness, trying to boil down complex issues into short online commentaries is ripe for misunderstanding. People are quick to judge and less open to listening. We will continue to be divided if we place a higher value on social media than real in-depth discussion. Engaging those with different views, even those we may find objectionable, is how we can start improving the world around us. And I believe as a community in Thornton, we are up for this challenge. I'd like to ask that we take an opportunity to increase our tolerance and compassion for one another, which is something we all need during this exceptionally challenging time. These are my own personal views, and I very much appreciate hearing from both of you.
Okay. I wrote a few notes down, and I hope my glasses don't fog up as I'm reading them. So, when I was younger, I was intrigued by a quote from Edgar Allan Poe, and it's sort of become a mantra for me. Learn to judge for yourself of what is going on in the world without trusting to the gossip of others. Believe nothing you hear and only one half that you see. Today, we are quick to pass judgment based on a shared social media post or a newspaper article without taking the time to talk with and get to know or understand the person. These non-human contact mechanisms are dividing our community. Here in America, we are fortunate to have First Amendment rights. I appreciate those rights. Through my own and my family's experiences, traveling, living, and being deployed in those countries where those rights do not exist. Every day, I hear and read opinions that are contrary to what I personally believe. But in this country, the First Amendment gives us the right to voice or share those opinions, however contentious or divisive they may be. It is through this debate, discussion, and listening to all opinions, not just the ones we like, that we grow and move forward as a community. The Board of Selectmen has policies and mechanisms to appoint and reappoint and accept resignations for boards. But there is no mechanism or policy to remove or force a resignation. There is no yardstick to judge others by what they choose to share on their personal social media pages. Over the past couple days, I have met in person with Bob O'Shaughnessy, and I have met and talked with others who have known him and worked with him for years. While I may not agree with what he or what others, including people I know well, choose to post on their social media, I will not judge someone based solely on that. I would encourage people to do the same. Come to commission meetings, ask questions, and get to know the person before rushing to judgment. As public servants, we have work to do. I do believe we need to work to make our commissions and boards more inclusive and more reflective of the nature and diversity of the community we serve. But getting to that place will take time, and to move forward and improve will require personal communication, public engagement, and education, not censure. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Okay, I have a few comments myself. I prepared a statement, and I am talking that. Okay. All right, I got it. As per the town charter, the Board of Selectmen have the power to appoint people to boards and commissions. We have the authority to accept resignations. We do not have the powers to remove someone based on a personal Facebook repost. And with respect to a repost on Facebook, before judgment is cast, we should take the time to get to know the person. I have known of Commissioner O'Shaughnessy for nearly 20 years as our volunteering paths have crossed. More recently, as the Police Commission liaison for the Board of Selectmen, I've gotten to know all of the commissioners a little bit better. The comments said about Commissioner O'Shaughnessy do not represent the person he is. The comments do not represent who he is as someone who loves this town and all who reside and visit here. And they do not represent who he is as a person who believes in giving back and volunteering, which is what he has done for the past 20 years. Again, before judgment is cast, take the time to get to know the person. The historical moment that has been overlooked recently is the 100-year anniversary of women gaining the right to vote. And now I'm flagging up. Okay. We got the right to vote, but sexual harassment continued. Nearly 30 years ago, during the Clarence Thomas and Anita Hill hearings, the pervasiveness of sexual harassment became evident to all. And for the past 30 years, all have been taught of what sexual harassment is as sensitivity training, here's some new sewing glasses, as sensitivity training was created in an effort to change behaviors. Today, forms of sexual harassment still exist, and I'll give you an example. A dear friend recently stepped down from a committee she served on for decades. Her thank you for her service came from another member of the committee who said, "Thank you for your many years of blonde advice," which is an offensive, sexist, and sarcastic remark. However, the person making the comment didn't post this on social media. Rather, he sent it in a text, which is not public or trollable, but shareable. I have permission to share this story from my friend, and so by sharing this story, I'm no longer choosing to keep quiet about it. Someone trolled Commissioner O'Shaughnessy's Facebook page and reposted the post. The trolling itself is disturbing, but social media is here to stay. The social media post and separately the sexual harassment that still exists both bring us an opportunity. Change is slow, but I believe we can do better. I fully support creating social media guidelines for all boards and commissions, as well as expanding the application process and the personal standards to be considered for both. I support extensive sensitivity training and anti-bias training and making both a condition of appointment and include this for town employees and elected officials. With input from our town's legal counsel with respect to individuals' constitutional rights, I'm confident that we will create an empowered path forward for our entire community. Thank you for allowing me to express that.
Thank you. Thank you for sharing all that.
Yeah.
Thank you. It so happens that our next item of new business is a discussion on diversity, inclusion, and sensitivity. This is not necessarily a new topic. It's something we've discussed under our comments before. But just to give you guys an update, and we're going to make this item more of a standing item. So we have our new Director of Administrative Services started, and we've been working together to identify ways that we can continue to improve as a community on various topics, with a focus on creating a more inclusive and welcoming community. One area that we've been examining is doing more work to better help identify our own biases, because we all have them, myself included. We've been looking into training we might do for both town employees, as you brought up, as well as board and commission members, so we might all better identify where we have our biases, be it related to race, gender, age, political views, or other areas, because we really feel that we can improve, but it's going to take some self-exploration, and that's how we can be more aware of these views that may unconsciously affect our decision-making, and that's why we think it's important for the town to take a leadership role on this. We also understand that this is a journey for individuals to take, and we simply hope to help provide a mechanism for that to take place. So just to give you three kind of specific updates, and then I've got some feedback, especially considering what you just mentioned. So we're exploring a mixture of virtual and in-person training on bias and inclusion, given both resources and COVID. Some, or maybe even most of these, will be virtual. However, I would personally really like to identify at least one in-person option as well. Hopefully we could partake in, and maybe a few other board and commission members. And I hope by our next meeting we'll narrow down the search and can confirm how we'll take this plan of action forward. Patty's been working hard to talk to New Britain, Manchester, a number of other towns about what we brought in, about what they're doing, and then thinking our budget is considerably smaller than most towns, so that's okay, we're scrappy, throwing to our budget, and how we can take that forward. So the next one is we're also looking into the feasibility and effectiveness of drafting a code of conduct. Things might be similar to what you just suggested, for boards and commission members to help guide us forward and establish what best practices could look like for leaders in our community. And then as part of an ongoing effort, that I think we have talked about quite a bit, but we're going to continue to strive for diversity on our boards and commissions. And I just want to clarify, because I know that everyone has their own view on kind of diversity. So from when I talk about diversity, just to share, so in my past work before this job, we worked with corporate boards all around the world on the topic of diversity. And it wasn't because it was the right thing to do, or maybe good soundbite, but it was because having diverse perspectives in most of these corporate boards, from, again, all different walks of life, recognize that it led to more creative ideas, solutions, better decision-making, and, surprise, can lead to better financial performance, which is probably the real driver of all of this. And I think this holds true in our town, recognizing we're not a corporation, but I do believe wholeheartedly that having more diverse perspectives, which can be everything from your experiences, your culture, your background, your age, your gender, it's not one thing. And it's also based on the board you're on. Our board, maybe you could do some more diversity. With full irony, I say that. But yeah, diversity, I think, in skills and background, experiences and perspectives is really essential. And that's what I hope that we're going to come to look for. And I would encourage people in the community who are looking at these different board and commissions, look also at the other existing members. And again, not just their maybe age or gender, ethnicity, but also the skill set, the person behind it. If maybe it's a board that's lacking in engineer experience or another type of skill set. So if you have questions, if you think your skill set might be useful or who you are might be useful, reach out to us, because we're also happy to help match make with boards and commissions. And I guess just to say, like, I think, we're a wonderful community with so many strengths, but learning is an ongoing process, which I think we'll kind of touch on, and I think we can strive to do better. So that's just kind of where we are, but we haven't gotten a chance to talk about this more extensively at the board meeting, so let's just get your thoughts on the areas I laid out, but also if there's areas missing, or other things you guys think we should include in this, and we can update the next meeting. So take some other ideas.
No, I think, when we took office in November, there were 30-plus vacancies on boards and commissions, and there's now just a handful, I don't know, 3. So I think what would help, though, because people want to volunteer, but it's kind of hard to define what you want to do. I think perhaps maybe looking at each board and commission and outlining if you have this particular skill or if you worked in this particular industry, you can bring that knowledge to this board and commission. And then it's more of a fit of what somebody, of the expression of the person who chooses to volunteer. We don't really have like a handbook.
No.
So I can remember when I first, volunteered in 1998, it was just like, well, we have this open and this open, what would you like to do? But by having that kind of conversation, there was a match. And so I think that might be a little helpful, because I know there's always, when there's more than one person perhaps applying for one spot, there's a hierarchy that kind of you go through as to which is the better candidate to fill that position. That's not public anywhere. And even filling the positions, sometimes there's an interview, sometimes when there's so many vacancies and we just want to fill them, we'll take, we're thankful for volunteering. But, that kind of thing that we've talked about in past meetings, that we should have like an outline. So for going forward, there's consistency in appointments.
Like process and content.
And so people understand. I mean, that was going to actually be my comment about, make it clear, how are these decisions being made? And have kind of an outline, so what's being matched. Right.
What experience, the applications that are submitted are very generic, and I think that we can beef those up. I think there's some other categories on it that we can include in the application to help us, go through people who want to volunteer, or towards, future boards of selectmen, but to help the board of selectmen just, decide, based on people who do want to volunteer, what strengths they have and what they can add to a board or commission. So.
And if you guys don't mind, maybe think, you could kind of keep thinking about it. I know we've been trying to look at, like I said, what other towns are doing, and we'll reach out to the town attorney. But I know, like with the code of conduct, for example, that's one we want to kind of really see, and is it actually useful? Like, don't have it just for the sake of having it, but if it is useful, so if you come across anything that you find useful, or example, someone actually shared with us one with me or another town with another category that might be useful to look at. So like anything, and anyone listening, if you want to share your thoughts or feedback on this kind of approach to diversity and inclusion and sensitivity, briefly pointed out, we'd love your thoughts, and we will likely discuss this at the next Board of Selectmen meeting in September. So. All right, so hopefully I'll have an update.
Continue the conversation. We can definitely add more.
Thank you guys very much. And again, if anyone has anything they want to share.
If I can just add, I think there's a very good definition on conflict of interest.
Okay.
But not really code of conduct, right? So I think that definitely needs more, a more definition to.
Thank you. No, that's really helpful. I have probably been looking to, because we have some separate policies like on harassment or on this, so like nothing pulled together. So even if it is more pulling even existing things together and putting them together, or if it's like more so. So we'll take a look and do that. Maybe just before opening comments to the public, I was gonna, if you guys will allow me, just have one more little statement. And again, just my personal take, just kind of closing this part of the meeting before we go to the comments to the public. Because I just want to say that I really genuinely believe we can do better than what we've been seeing over the past few months. I think as a community, we've seen many people, at times myself included, too quick to judge. We aren't engaging in real dialogue for the most part. I don't think overall, broadly speaking, not saying every individual person in our community, but as a community, I think we can set a better example for younger generation and for each other. And I think we all need to lead by example. I think we could try maybe a little bit harder to assume the best in each other instead of seeing the worst, and to focus our energy on finding solutions showing compassion and tolerance instead of tearing each other down. And in closing, I want to also put out, I'm imploring, I guess, asking very kindly those who are running for office for this November, please lead by example. Civility can go a long way. And with that said, we're going to move on to comments from the public. So you can press *3, and then we can help unmute your line. You'll please listen because you'll get prompted, and they'll tell you when your line is being unmuted, and then you can speak. And when you speak, please provide your name and address. It's just part of entering things into the record. And then when you're done, please press *3 to close out the line for the next person to go. As a reminder, we don't have the resources to also be watching on Facebook. It's just automatically streamed there, but we are not watching Facebook right now. So if you have comments, you do need to either ahead of the meeting email them to us or say them verbally on the line. So again, you can press *3. We'll give everybody a minute. Facebook's like a half hour. Okay. All right, if anyone is delayed, we'll let you interrupt our comments from the Selectmen if you need to, but again, it's *3. I'll get it one more time. And again, if not, people are welcome to email, call, engage us, just hopefully put their best stuff forward. All right, so comments from the Selectmen. Deb, do you want to start this time?
I think that, I already made a comment, but but I just want to say, I do appreciate all these people that are putting in applications. And even though, it's a learning process and we may be tweaking the application, and maybe there isn't a vacancy available, but please come to meetings, get involved. Just because there isn't a vacancy available on the commission you're interested in now doesn't mean there might not be one in the future. And if you attend meetings and get to know the players and learn the rules, then it goes a long way. And I think that goes just as far as the volunteers on the commission in moving us forward. Thank you.
Thank you. That's great. We do have one comment or question? Sorry, comment? Okay, go ahead, caller.
Did you want to make a comment?
Not at this time.
If you could say your full name and address just for the record.
Well,
Hello.
Dean Anderson, but I'm not going to make a comment at this time.
Oh,
Okay.
okay, Dean. Well, thank you very much. Oh, June, June, do you want to share?
Yeah, so I actually have a comment from the last police commission meeting. While I didn't ask to be on the agenda yet, but for the next meeting I will. It's the parking issue on Washington Street, where the new one-way is and how narrow it is. I know that all of Washington Street is very narrow when there's pedestrians and cars, but in that one-way section, just from the way cars park on one side and you have the park and parking on the other side, there is literally just enough room for a vehicle to get through. Thankfully, people aren't going fast through there, but you have so many people walking in downtown Mystic now. Yeah. Anyway, the thought was, and Deb, you brought this up, and I've worked down in that area, so I see it all the time. This maybe temporarily take away some of the parking spots, so it's just a little bit wider for safe pedestrian walking. So that should be on the next meeting. So the chief did brief the commissioners about some of the concerns, the public concerns, some of the concerns that I had and Deb had shared. So that should be on the next agenda.
Okay. No, thank you. And I know just for people listening that might not be aware, because I know it's sometimes confusing what different boards do, but the police commission does oversee our traffic and parking, so that's why, just for reference, Jeannie's bringing up. And I do understand that they go down to every site and check it out beforehand and walk it and understand it and try and observe it. So it's good that they are going to go look at that, and then you can talk to them on the 10th. So, yeah. Okay, great. Thank you for doing that.
So, and then also for those who might be watching you all have liaison positions to all of the 30 active boards and commissions, and among others, mine is the police commission. So,
very good at it, they do.
Yeah.
Anything else from your side?
No, I think, well, K through 12, we had our final, I know, right? Final. We had the final walkthroughs, and this is truly the final K through 12 building committee walkthroughs of West Vine Street School on Monday, in Beans Mill yesterday, just to make sure that there were some things on the punch list that we wanted to make sure were completed before we, did our final accounting of the project. Everything was done according to spec. And I do want to say, it was a privilege as a K-12 building committee member to be able to walk through the schools. My gosh, they're beautiful. I mean, these are just the elementary schools. The administration has done such a tremendous job getting them ready for school. The desks are spaced apart. They have little dots on the floors, where children should stand. I mean, I wish I was going back to school in grade school. They've done an absolutely great job. But anyway, that was our final walkthrough. And I think we are scheduled to have maybe just 2 more meetings before we all wrap it up and send it to Hartford for the audit to get our final reimbursement. So,
Thank you,
yeah,
that's exciting.
yeah, I know, long time. And I think I've been saying it's almost over, like for the last year and a half.
Truly, maybe almost over. No, well, I can personally thank you since I'll have 2 kids going to one of the elementary schools this year, so thank you guys, both of you.
Yeah. It was a privilege. It was a lot of work, but it was truly a privilege to be on it. So.
Yes,
Yeah.
absolutely.
Yeah.
And maybe I'll start then my update, just adding to what June just said, just a thank you. I mean, we've been talking with administrators, teachers, obviously parents. I think this coming fall is going to be extremely stressful and anxiety-filled with other nonprofits in the area about how we can better help families. And everyone's just been really working so hard to try and cover all these gaps and these challenges that are presented by COVID and hybrid and what's going to happen with the different days. And I can, I think say just a huge thank you to the administrators, the teachers, also the families, the nonprofits who've all stepped up, and they're all trying. I don't think anyone's had a very relaxing summer. Everyone seems to be working double overtime, but just a thank you to all of them for all that work. I don't think I actually told you about this, but the last Thursday, I did have the privilege, even though I was very nervous to do it, in participating and speaking in the Freedom Forum at the Seaport with Discovering Amistad. The event was honestly it was inspirational. I was nervous preparing for it. It made me dig deeper and think about things I haven't ever really thought about. And it was just really, really well put together. Discovering Amistad is an amazing organization. Trey Brown, the moderator, fantastic. Having Chief Justice Robinson speak and give a keynote and also participate in the panel was just such a privilege. Marianne Butler, our assistant superintendent, joined me, which was so great to get kind of a school perspective. And then Reverend Coleman from Groton also gave more of a kind of a religious perspective. And it was really nice. We had about just under 100 people there outside at the Seaport. And it was great. It was the first of what will hopefully now be a series of events that Discovering Amistad is going to do. It includes London next and Waterford, possibly Hartford and others. It was something that we started talking about as the COG, as the Regional Council of Governments. I think I told you guys just thinking about how could we do more as a region in southeastern Connecticut on topics around inclusion and being welcoming communities and what we previously just talked about. And I was so grateful when I approached the Seaport and Discovering Amistad to see if they might be willing to partner. They were already talking about doing an event. So it all worked out really, really amazingly. And we've been talking to the Seaport about trying to also do more events as a community and not have this be the last one here. But it was nice thing. We invited leaders from Stonington and Groton, like every school administrators, people involved with the police, people involved with nonprofits, particularly those that engage kids, chambers, business representatives. And so it was a really nice gathering of different types of people and representing different industry groups. Unfortunately, because of COVID, couldn't open it up more broadly, but it was really, really great. And we should have a video of it soon, so I'm happy to share that.
My question.
We will share it. So that was just, and just a huge thank you to the Mystic Seaport for hosting that and helping to put that together. And then the other thing I would say is, Stacy and I have just a new idea. We haven't told told you guys about it, yeah. We'll see how it goes, but I think we're gonna call it Community Connections Video Series. And so we're gonna record, even though I'm the most awkward person on video, some little snippets with people and organizations and businesses in the community and kind of an angle of like things that people in the community might not already know about. Some people will, some people won't. So just as an example, we did a quick segment. We haven't put any of them out yet. We'll be rolling them out soon, but with the at the Pawcatuck River to both highlight obviously the wild and scenic aspect, but also that people don't know necessarily that they can kayak down it, that they can start 4 towns up, and they can do it in different segments and journeys. So we were really grateful to have Maggie Jones and Tom Sanford come and talk to us about their experience kayaking down the river. They've been doing it, I think, for the past couple of months. They've been doing little segments, so that was fun. And then we went to Dutch's and Leverages. And the angle there was kind of like, did you know that there's these 2 amazing different bakery restaurants? One's a vegan kind of dessert cupcake ice cream, and the other, the Leverages of breakfast, and amazing breakfast and sandwiches. And so the kind of angle there was like, did you know it's a little bit tucked away, but on this one corner, there's diagonal kitty corner from each other, there's these 2 like amazing places. And then I think on Friday we're going to do the Stonington Historical Society, and they have a whole amazing list of things. So I'm like, did you know facts? We just thought people could do something a little bit positive and also hopefully discover new things about our town, new experiences. So with that said, if you guys have any ideas of other things we should do, or if anyone listening has ideas of something they think that we should feature or look at, we're all about some new ideas. So thank you. And then finally, ballots. So we have an FAQ on the website now, as well as a recording. If people call the town clerk office, they can hit the number and go to the FAQ recording. We know it is different and a little bit confusing this year, so people shouldn't hesitate to call or ask questions. But essentially, we want people to be sure that they're checking their voter registration. So go online and check your voter registration and be sure it's the right address, because the Secretary of State's office will be mailing everyone applications for them to fill out if they want an absentee ballot. You want to be sure that your address is correct. You can also apply for one online. You can also come into Town Hall if none of those options work for you. And then ballots will be available on October 2nd. So, yeah, if people have questions, just engage with us, let us know. Be patient with everyone, the town clerk and registrar voters are working so hard. It's a challenging time, but they're rising up to the occasion, of course. So I think that's about it on my update. Anything else?
There's so much history here. That's great to do.
That's good. Yeah, ideas, yeah. If you guys want to be the video, or do a video, it doesn't have to be me.
I mean, it's just fascinating.
There is.
Yeah.
We have so many amazing, we were saying people, like organizations, locations, and we said also given COVID, people tend to just sometimes go where they know. So like if instead of maybe hanging out down the Mystic River Park, they went to Donahue Park, and they didn't know there's actually a little boat kayak launch right there. They could, do that and not all congregate in one place. So yeah, any angles or ideas you guys have.
No, that's great. Yeah, I think it's a great idea.
Yeah.
So if nothing further, we will stand adjourned. Thank you,
Okay.
guys, and thank you, Stacy.
Thank you.